Hello there. I'm Kate DeVore.
And I'm Rick Fiore.
And we are celebrating our 1-year birthday or anniversary of this podcast.
Woohoo! Happy
Yay,
birthday
woohoo!
to us. Happy birthday
Thank
to
you.
us.
Feel free to send us champagne. Woohoo! And so, partly as a gift to ourselves, we are taking this episode off and rerunning our very first episode.
So we still find it important, we still find it helpful, and enjoy. And listen, have a great holiday season, and we will see you in the new year with lots of fun and new information.
Yep, we'll be back on January 1st with something awesome and new. Thanks. Happy holidays.
Hey, Kate, Can I tell you what I ate last night?
Yes, please.
I went to my favorite Thai food place. You know, I love me some Thai. I got the crispy spring rolls, which were, of course, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I got the tofu and peanut sauce, which is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the vegetable green curry. 2 dishes, 1 appetizer, and I ate it all.
Wow.
It was a busy night.
Did you eat it all in one sitting, or did you take some home and eat some later?
Over the course of 2 hours, I did carry out, and over the course of 2 hours, because I think sometimes it makes me feel better if I just don't eat it all in one sitting.
Right. Well,
So
you got to give things a chance to move through, apparently.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to rush anything.
No, exactly. Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because I actually had Thai food last night too, and I had the Pad See Ew, which I have recently discovered you can have made with crispy noodles. Have you ever had that?
No.
Oh no, don't listen. This is a horrible, horrible thing that I am telling you, because whenever anyone gets introduced to this, it's just a nightmare. So do you know what Pad See Ew is? Those flat, broad noodles, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you have them crispy, I don't know what they do. I have a horrible feeling they actually like deep fry them or something that makes them puff up and get crunchy. And then they put all the regular Pad See Ew stuff on there, so it's kind of crunchy and chewy, but it doesn't have the soft texture of regular noodles, but it's different and interesting and amazing.
Wow.
And it wouldn't have been that bad if I'd had that, because that was actually all I had for dinner. I had 1 dish. But
What's wrong with you?
But I had also gone out to brunch and had a ridiculous, like, buttery hollandaise bacon situation for brunch. So to have 2 meals like that in one day is absolutely just obscene.
Let me tell you, the amount of times I've caught myself in a buttery hollandaise bacon situation, I can't even count the amount of times that's happened.
Well, if you guys don't know, Rick doesn't eat bacon, but I'm sure you eat butter and hollandaise, bro.
No, not me, Kate. I'm super healthy. Oh, and in one of my dishes last night, there's a big old chunk of chicken just sitting right in the middle of it all.
Get out.
No, I can't go back to that place again.
Oh,
It's ruined.
that sucks.
I can put up with a lot, but just random meat where it shouldn't be? Who wants that?
That's not good.
Welcome to the first episode of You Won't Believe What I Ate Last Night. I'm Rick Fiore.
And I'm Kate DeVore.
This is our ongoing conversation about food, health, weight management, and our endeavor to be and stay healthy in a really tasty world.
Now, we do need to fess up here. This wasn't supposed to be our first episode. We thought we were going to get this thing launched a little while ago. So you're going to hear us in future episodes say, this is our first episode, but that's because we bumped this one to the front of the line because it is so relevant for this time of year. So what I have to say to you is, Rick, step away from the apps.
Happy holidays. That's right. Today we're talking about navigating eating during the holidays.
And we're sharing our wealth of experience of what not to do,
along with tips on what to do.
So, Rick, I've heard various statistics over the years about how much weight the average American gains over the holidays. I've heard 2 pounds, I've heard 7 pounds. I've never really looked into it, but it seems that most people do gain some weight over the holidays, and most people, no matter where they are on the spectrum of health and fitness and weight, tend to have to be careful at the very least, or sometimes super, super careful. And it turns out that there's a reason for that. So guess how much weight?
This is not going to be good news. What? Tell me.
It's not going to be good news. So, well, it depends on who you are.
Oh, good.
So, according to the New York Times, guess how much weight the average American actually gains over the holidays?
10 pounds.
Great guess. Turns out it's only 1 pound. Far less than we are led to believe. I know. And all this stuff about careful about your eating over the holidays. It's only 1 pound. So apparently that's the first thing. here's the second thing. There's another factor. If you're already overweight, apparently you're screwed because you are then likely to gain more like 5 pounds.
Come on.
I know. It's so not fair.
I don't even know what to say to that.
I know. And they didn't go into why that is. So I don't know if it's to do with habits or behaviors or cellular propensity or what. I don't know what it is. Or
the eternal sense of doom and gloom overweight people generally feel.
Yeah, there you go. We're just in deep trouble now no matter what. So we figure everybody is at least paying attention at this point, and people who are prone to be overweight have to pay even more attention than people that don't. But nobody really escapes the holidays who celebrates any kind of holidays in this country. So let's start with some of our hard-earned knowledge. So based on our vast experience of holiday eating,
huge.
Do you have any tips that you might want to share in the category that we're going to call what not to do over the holidays for eating?
Yeah, I have one, Kate. I think my first one of what not to do would be definitely don't bring your own Tupperware to the party so that you can bring home leftovers. That always works really well for me. How about you?
So you're suggesting that I should just bring a baggie instead of Tupperware? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, bring a bag. Yeah, because it's so gauche to walk in with an actual piece of plastic. A bag will do better. No one will ever guess what you're up to if you have a bag.
Totally. When my mom and I were just in Turkey, she would put this plastic bag in her purse and take it to restaurants. And when we had leftover meat, she would put the meat in the baggie so we could feed it to the street cats. And we came to refer to this bag affectionately as the meat bag. So are you suggesting that I should not bring a snack bag to holiday parties?
I'm thinking no, Kate. We should leave the meat bag at home. It's sort of like a feed bag you strap on. That's what it sounds like. Strap on the old feed bag.
It does sound like that. Well, my first not to suggestion is you definitely should not just plant yourself in front of the food and remain there the entire evening, getting people to bring you drinks so that you don't lose your spot.
That's awesome. Because I've quite often sat right by the buffet bar, but I always get up to go get my drinks. I never actually thought of employing someone to go get my drinks so I can stay by the buffet bar. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's what you got to do. You got to get someone to fetch things for you because otherwise someone might take your spot by the buffet bar.
And as we know, it's all about real estate. It's all location, location, location.
That's right.
I would definitely suggest don't starve yourself all day. So you can eat whatever and as much as you want at the party. Have you ever done that?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was actually my next one also. I had it written almost literally the same way. Don't starve yourself before you get there to save your calories and then eat everything that isn't nailed down.
It always seems like such a good idea, doesn't it?
I know, because you're like, all right, I'm going to save all my calories for the party and I'm not going to have any today. And then, of course, you're famished and you haven't eaten all day. And yeah.
Tough times.
Mm-hmm. I have another one, which is to not just throw your hands up and decide that you've already blown it and that you might as well just keep eating once you go off the rails.
Oh, Kate, that's so funny. Well, I've never done that.
Right. Like by the time you've had like the fourth thing that you didn't really mean to have. And it's very easy, it seems to me, to just be like, well, the hell with it. I've already done it for tonight. And that there may be another way.
Now, is this throwing your hands? When you throw your hands up, does it have the meat bag in your hand or not?
No, that would be messy.
Okay. And is it by the buffet bar that you throw your hands up?
Well, clearly. Absolutely. What else?
Oh, I had that. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Here's what the other thing we were talking about. Kate and I were talking about this whole idea. Like we've been, as the holidays have been coming up, we've been talking so much about what are some tips and what are the new things people are recommending. So I've got this list of things that people are recommending that I thought I'd read with you. Where's my list at? Here's my favorite. One of the tips was wear snug clothes and keep one hand busy. And I'm like,
that sounds dirty.
Doesn't it? I'm like, what exactly is that hand busy with is what I want to know.
I guess that might keep you away from the snacks.
Am I practicing my sign language with one hand? With that hand? And if I was practicing sign language, it would probably say, bring me more food.
I'm going to keep an eye on everyone's hands.
So absurd.
Yeah. And that guy down at the end wearing snug clothing with one hand always out of sight, I'm not going to go after the same app tray that he just did. That's for sure.
True. Very true. That's disgusting. And this person had a PhD. My other favorite one is, this is what I love. Add fun and games to your dining dinner outings. They're literally suggesting take games with you. You know what was on their list to bring with you?
Tiddlywinks.
Badminton.
No, badminton?
Badminton. They said go ice skating. My other favorite was sledding, because you know how much I love sledding, and I always have my sled in my car. This is my favorite. They said, when you get to the party, rent and bring an instructional dance video, followed by a dance-off. Can you imagine? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that at my office party.
Oh my God, we're going to retitle this podcast How Not to Get Invited to Any More Parties.
Well, that would solve the eating
Better
problem.
yet, bring your guitar and the Indigo Girls songbook.
Because that's always a winning combination.
Right. Well, there are actually some parties where that's appropriate, but this is not what I'm picturing for the holiday little cocktail party gathering.
My other favorite was focus on socializing, not food. I'm like, what's the point of that? Oh, this is the other one. Stand more than an arm's length away from the food. Really?
I'm picturing the moment where you figure out how far your arm's length is and you're measuring it and how that looks as you're standing by the food, measuring how to get like an arm's length away.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I looked up some of those things as well. And my favorite one was host your own party so that you can be in charge of the food. That seems like a great solution to how to handle all the holiday socializing, is just host it all yourself and you decide what, and don't let anyone bring anything.
And you do all the work.
Yeah. Awesome. Uh-huh.
Because there's nothing that doesn't make me stress eat more than making all the food for a party.
Exactly. So some of these I find to be just absurd, but there's some of them that are actually valuable and I just don't want to do. So that's a whole nother category of these. For example, write down everything you eat and drink. That's a pretty common piece of advice. And I understand there is tremendous value, and I am not mocking that as a thing. However, I just don't want to do that.
I'm going to mock it. I hate food journals.
Aren't you keeping one right now?
I am. Can you tell? It's terrible.
So you're allowed to say you hate them because you're actually doing it. I feel like that's better.
I'm working with a clinician just about food and eating and all of that stuff, and I have to keep a food journal. And I'm so resentful of it. And they say everyone is whenever they ask anyone to do it. I'm like, definitely keep asking people. And I thought the only reason I don't like it is because it's going to be held up, and I'm generally not made to feel really good about my food journals. Because the whole point is, I know I'm not eating well. I know I should be eating better.
Right.
No one needs to document that, hand it over to someone, have them grade it, and then give you their interpretation back. I'm like, shoot me. I'd rather just bring a dance video to a party and have a dance off.
I am now obsessed with the idea of you actually bringing an instructional dance video to some party and trying to get people to do it. Like, just as a punk, I really want you to do this now.
December 11th, my office party, Annapolis, Maryland.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Especially with your colleagues, I think that would go over big.
Yeah,
I think the instructional dance video is exactly up their alley.
Shoot me in the head. Yeah.
Another one that makes sense, but is a total bummer, is to basically just don't go to stuff. Is that their suggestion is limit it to 1 or 2 nights a week and just say no to everything else, which, to be honest, is exactly the way I need to do it. That really is precisely what would work for me if I were to choose to really take that seriously. That would be the easiest way for me
to limit
because I have such a hard time limiting once I'm there.
Right.
That not going there in the first place would be the best way. But how lame is that?
That's
not to
really
be able to
lame.
Socialize because I can't stay away from the buffet.
Oh, it's so depressing to think about that. That's what you have to do in order to control oneself.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough times.
Oh, here's a good one that's actually a good one, which is recruit an accountability buddy, which you and I kind of are.
Yeah.
For each other, in a way, So
Right.
you just connect with people and fess up at the very least.
So Kate's in Chicago and I'm in Washington, D.C. So I think you should bring me along to all of your parties on Skype. And then when people look at your phone and they're like, why is that guy dancing so much? You can be like, he's at a party. He's having a dance off.
I don't have to bring the instructional dance video. I can just Skype into you doing the instructional dance video at home.
Because it would be a big hit, I'm sure.
Hey, Rick, did you know that cinnamon is a powerful antioxidant that can help reduce the risk of blood clots, control blood sugar, improve insulin sensitivity, which helps prevent fat gain and diabetes?
I did know that. My Ayurvedic clinical physician just put me on that.
On cinnamon?
Yeah, in my smoothies.
Oh, cool.
And in pill form.
Hey, Rick, did you know that garlic can help prevent various kinds of stomach, gastrointestinal, and colorectal cancers?
No.
The other one I liked was sort of, at first I thought, oh, this is so dumb. But then the other one I liked is be a food snob. So at first I had this impression of going around and just like faking it. Oh, that food's no good. I couldn't possibly eat it. Couldn't possibly. Then the more I thought about it, this idea is really great about really making sure the food you're eating is good food. Because at holiday parties, a lot of times there's just so much crap, a lot of fried crap, that while I like it, I've gotten a lot better at not eating those things because I know it's just not good. So really trying to distinguish between the really, really good food at a party and the bad food.
Absolutely. And now getting into the things that I had in my mind to suggest as things that actually are potentially useful tips, that is exactly one of mine as well, which is to like do a recon when you get there. To like look at all the food options. A recon. Yeah, to do, or a recce, as my mom would call it. And I think that's what they call it in England. A recce. It's still short for reconnaissance, but I think they call it a recce instead of a recon. Yeah, so you go and check everything out to see what's there so that you don't just start munching on the first things in front of you that aren't very good. So that's exactly the same idea, is there's likely to be a lot of stuff there that's yummy and really great, and then a bunch of stuff that's meh. And it's easy to just get sucked into, well, I'm just snacking and I'm not paying much attention to it. And so plan what you really want to eat and don't waste the calories on the stuff that you don't love.
That is actually, it's a really great idea. What's your opinion on this whole idea of eating before you go out so that you're not as hungry?
Yeah, I think like we said before, the exact wrong thing to do is to starve yourself all day and then go out. I think that's a problem. I also think that probably eating the normal amount of calories that you would eat proportionally in a day before you go out for this kind of thing isn't ideal either. So I think eating something small and healthy, like throughout the day and relatively close to before you go, is a good idea. I also think, to be honest, it depends on how much your eating has to do with hunger. So that's based on the fact that, you want to try to get there and not be hungry. But that presupposes that the reason we're eating is because we're hungry. And I'm going to submit.
You first, Kate. Please submit.
Call me crazy, but I do think it's possible that some of the times we're not eating because, okay, you can stop now. Thank you. Some of the times we're not eating because we're hungry. So I still think it's a good idea to not be ravenous and to have had some good nutritious stuff and to go with a little something in your stomach, and definitely have some water right when you get there. Go in maybe with some nuts or a little piece of fruit in your belly, and to have eaten healthily but lightly throughout the day beforehand. That's actually what I think is probably the wisest. What do you think?
I agree with you 100%. I fortunately have never, ever, ever not eaten because I'm hungry. I always eat because there's a rumbling in my stomach and my body's craving energy.
Well, how nice for you.
God, welcome to my life. My kingdom. I love people who push their plate back and they're like, oh, I'm just not hungry anymore. Or I'm full. And I'm like, really? Really? It's sort of like friends. Like I have two friends around the holidays because there's so many parties. The amount of times I hook up with them and they're like, oh my God, I was just so frustrated. I was just so upset. I had a really stressful day. I just had to go work out. I'm like, God love you people. God love you. It's sort of the same idea. My kingdom for that reaction.
Yeah, I used to have that reaction. I don't anymore. But for a lot of years, that was how I dealt with my stress. And that actually leads me to a second thing that is a viable way to handle the holiday eating, which is, as much as it pains me to say it, to add in extra exercise to compensate for the extra calories.
I agree. This is going to be the one thing I'm doing this year that I'm going to do differently than I've done other years. Be really strict. It's not strict, but I'm just scheduling my exercise a lot more closely. around the holiday season
Mm.
in relation to all my
Mhm.
parties that if I am going to, because right now I have 6 parties that I'm going to in the month of December. And each one of those is going to have to be accompanied by a vigorous exercise program.
Yes. And another thing you can do after those parties is you can actually make up for it the next day. You know, it's not like, well, that's all gone to hell because tonight I had this. Like, you can eat less the next day and it will balance out a little bit.
I like that. It's a good idea to remember that as much as you eat, you have to make up for it the next day. It's a great way to go into your holiday parties.
Another thing to keep in mind is as much as I hate to waste anything, leave what you don't want. Like, there comes a point, even for those of us who just eat and eat, that we really just don't want the rest of what's on our plate. But for one reason or another, either we were raised to finish what's on our plate, or because I wasn't raised to, I just do it naturally, or for whatever reason that we do that. But I think that is a key thing, is if you don't want it, don't eat it.
God, love you for saying that. I actually was raised to finish everything on my plate. And a lot of times we actually had to finish everything that was prepared for the meal. No leftovers.
Oh, wow.
Right?
That's impressive.
Talk about
Yeah.
a feed bag to strap on.
Totally. Another one is to remember that alcohol not only has really bad calories in it that are all sugar and bad for your glycemic index and cause inflammation and all that stuff, but also lowers our inhibitions and causes us to eat more and make poor judgment in general.
What?
Enough said about that.
What's that you say? Alcohol causes poor judgment.
I believe I've heard something about that. We can look into it more closely.
We need to, because that is news to my ears.
So the bottom line for me, here's like my punchline. This is the one that I'm really gonna work toward here. So there's actually a research study out of Penn State that talked about it's really not the food at these gatherings that causes us to gain weight as much as it is the people and the camaraderie and the distractions of the social context, which I found really surprising.
Yeah.
And they said that dining in a group apparently causes the average person to eat 44% more calories than they normally would eating alone. And that if you're in a party situation, the number of distractions are even greater. So that would increase the tendency to overeat even more than just going out to dinner with friends would. So that leads me to, you're shaking your head, right?
Yeah.
Like what do you think about that?
I'm thinking two things. The statistics just overwhelm me a little bit. And then I think about the fact that I tend to eat more when I'm alone. Like, I understand the statistic, but I eat more when I'm alone because I actually am more concerned about shame around how much I eat in front of other people. So, yeah, I get it. I'm with you.
Yeah, I understand. I was going to say, I think that doesn't pertain to a certain subset of the population, but apparently the people that they researched, that was the case. And probably these were college students, so who knows?
Right.
So then that really leads me to what I think the thing is, which is, and this is going to be a theme that you and I are going to come back to many times, which is about being present and really mindful about what we're eating while we're there. Because I think for me, the thing about that kind of smorgasbord is partly it's just so delightful to just have all that choices and have all those different flavors and tastes and textures.
Totally.
So there is a real hedonistic pleasure to it for those of us that love food in the way we love. There's no question about that. I also think there's a feeling of being like, it's the holidays, and it's like it's an excuse to overindulge. And so I think being mindful of that is really important for me. And then really like looking at everything I eat before I eat it and really thinking about everything I eat and deciding if I actually want to eat that. Given all the other yummy things that are available, do I want to eat that? And to stay grounded and present and look at what I'm doing. So that's really my game plan. And this is, as I'm talking about this, it feels sort of absurd because it's such a first world problem we're describing here. It's almost embarrassing given the culture of the world right now.
Totally, right?
And here we are. So,
and this is a culture that suffers from so much focus on food. When you think about our restaurant business, all the shows on TV that are about food, it's a very first world problem.
I don't know anything about television shows on food.
For those of you that don't know, Kate watches the Food Channel nonstop.
I do. Okay. So you were saying.
I was going to say, so my game plan is definitely going to be more mindful. I definitely want to be mindful of this idea of identifying the really great quality food above the other high quality food. And just chiming in on that thing you said about how you throw your hands up and you're like, oh, it's the holiday season. I'm just going to be crazy. It doesn't matter. I am going to stay mindful of that because one of the things I have gotten better about is it used to be a feeding frenzy once October hit because the middle to end of October is my birthday. And that would lead into birthday celebrations, which would take me into Thanksgiving celebrations and then right into Christmas celebrations. So it would be 3 months of a party. So I'm going to be mindful of that whole idea of just not tossing everything away for the holidays.
Don't forget Halloween.
Halloween! I forgot about Halloween. Thank you. And then in addition to that, I'm going to be really mindful about making sure that I schedule and plan all of my exercise, particularly on both sides of the dinner parties. That if I'm going to go out to all these engagements, that there's going to be, for lack of a better word, a price to be paid. The price of admission to all those parties is going to be a rigorous exercise program.
Yeah, that seems very sensible. That's good. The last thought that I will leave you with is that if you do bring the meat bag or the Tupperware to the party to take home all the leftovers, make sure that you immediately get them in the refrigerator because apparently 400,000 Americans will get sick from Christmas leftovers each year. That is the final statistic that I will leave you with for this particular episode.
You are killing me, Kate DeVore, killing me.
Okay, so here are some takeaways.
I'm going to focus on really being present and mindful and paying attention and noticing everything I eat and making sure that if I don't really want it, to not eat it, even if I took it onto my plate, which is hard. I'm also going to work on not being swept away by the festivity of it all or allowing the holidays to be an excuse to kind of throw my hands up and just binge.
I am going to make sure that in relation to all of my holiday events that I schedule exercise both before the holiday event and right after the holiday event. So in the case I happen to strap on the old feed bag, it'll help.
Excellent. Awesome.
So next episode, we're going to be talking about using meditation to get back on track when you fall off the wagon.
Yes, and then the couple of episodes after that, we're going to talk about smoothies, we're going to talk about comfort food, we're going to talk about elements of food that become addictive, and we really want to hear from you about what else you'd like to hear from us. And the way you can let us know is by going to our website, which is youwon'tbelievewhatIate.com, and you can send us email through there. We also have a bunch of recipes on there and tips and resources, and we're going to continue to build and grow the website as we continue to move forward. But we really want to hear your suggestions. So, good luck over the holidays.
Thanks. Bye.